I took the portrait oil painting course from AgnesHjalArt, if I pronounce it correctly, and today in this video I would like to talk about it. Agnes is a Swedish artist, oil painter, YouTuber, and she lives in Sweden with her boyfriend Andy, who is a musician, but he also can draw very well, making animations and doing even oil painting. When I saw her art a couple of years ago, I was literally blown away. It was something I want to look at and also something I would like to learn. So I asked her a couple of times, can you teach me? I was not the only one. And it's the reason why she made a course. Agnes is half my age, so I'm 43, she is 23, and she is the same age as my daughter Mila. And then her painting course was finally online. So here I already start watching the course before I had to pick up the boys from school and my husband coming back from work. I went straight ahead to the materials chapter to see what materials are needed for this course, and I already started to select my paint and brushes. I made a special file to save everything in it. I took additional notes and printed out what I needed because there was so much course material. I took the biggest canvas I had. It's 60 by 80 centimeters and it's from the Action shop, so I paid €6, so that's okay for such a big canvas, I think. I love to work with all mediums, but I have a preference for opaque and thick mediums like wash and oils. So here I came up with the idea to make a portrait of my husband, to paint him and then to give it on Valentine's Day. It's so funny because Agnes is like me, left-handed, and I thought that she was adopted from Korea, but it's her mother. And also there are so many other things we have in common, like having a boyfriend, husband who are musicians. We both are painting, even though I'm just an amateur and she is a professional. So it's fun to see that people who live far away can be connected thanks to the internet and social media. Nowadays we see social media as something very negative and toxic, but it depends how much your time you spend on it, and of course the way you consume the content and how it affects you. For me, it is the perfect outlet for my creativity and to meet like-minded people. So after a lot of hassle, the canvas was standing finally. Yeah! A new day the next day, so I started with my daily walk. I took pictures from my husband in the same position as Andy, because for me it was the easiest to start with. So I could paint my husband, but at the same time I had Andy as a reference. I started to paint in the living room. Then I still had to open up the parcel because I received the earrings which I ordered from the website from Agnes, and she sent me all those cards for free, so thank you so much. And let's talk about the course, because even though I know already some basics, there was still so much new information, and I think beginners and seasoned painters can both learn a lot from this course. I love Agnes' attitude. She is very straightforward, honest, and she explains things the way I can understand it. Also, I find her very funny, and Andy too. A lot of times I'm laughing out loud and my husband and my children are looking at me like, oh, you're watching another vlog from Agnes. So yeah. It was the first time that I did an underpainting with acrylics. I think next time I go again with oils because it dries so fast and you can see a lot of mistakes. You have to learn through trial and error. On a rainy Sunday, my husband started to play the piano. My husband's name is Nico, by the way, so I'm going to call him from now on Nico. He asked me to join me with the painting, and I said no, because if you're watching, you're going to make me feel stressed, and I cannot paint like that. I need to concentrate myself. And he believed it. So I said, you're really not going to watch? And he said, no, don't worry. And I know my husband, when he say something, he does it or he doesn't do it. He stick to his word. So it was weird to paint him while I was just sitting next to him and he had no clue. I told him that it was a landscape painting with a girl in the middle, because one time I made the mistake that I was talking about the different values of the face while I was talking about the landscape. So I said, no, it's a little girl in the middle. It was like, okay, yeah, and the hair of the girl. And I could see that he really believed that I'm just painting a landscape with a girl in the middle. So with the underpainting, even when I had a hard time with the acrylics drying so quickly, when I started to add color, it turned out so horrible. Like the biggest nightmare on canvas happened just in front of me. And like in a bad dream, you don't know what to do, you cannot do anything. It was exactly that feeling. The painting course is well structured, and I think Agnes is even too generous, because besides giving away all her secrets and being very transparent and honest, she even encourages us to contact her for feedback, which is mostly an option you have to pay for if you take an online course. Her videos are giving me such good vibes. With her soothing voice and with Andy's music, I felt totally relaxed, and it was a pleasant experience to watch it and to get inspired. I watched all her videos in just 2 days, and then I started to paint. Also, she spoke about Bob Ross, once a famous TV painter, and she drew Miyazaki, so 2 icons, which of course I'm a huge fan of it as well. Agnes has a real generous personality, and you can feel the love for oil painting through her course. She is also very supportive to us, and she said that it's okay to make mistakes, because that is part of the process. But also our mistakes are interesting. We as painters are seeing things at our way, so we should not be afraid to mess up. Messing up is one of the biggest fears, and it's the reason why people don't dare to do new things. We are always afraid to fail. That should not stop us trying new things finally. So sorry, because sometimes I have difficulties to express myself correctly, as you already could notice. It's so awkward to speak in front of a microphone or into a camera, but maybe I will get used to it one day. And by the way, is it Agnes or Agnes? Agnes, I think, in English. We in Holland should say Agnes, with the g. Only the people in the south of the Netherlands say Agnes, with the soft G. And I know many Agneses. Okay, so yes, what I said about color mixing, I found that the hardest thing to do. And her boyfriend Andy, who tried out the course and painted her, he said exactly the same thing. My only regret is that I didn't discover her earlier. She wasn't there, I think. But now I failed so miserably on the colors. I know next time what to do and what not to do. In the beginning, everything is so overwhelming because you see so many values and so many colors. But then you have to remind yourself that you have to simplify it down into shapes and into like 3 or 4 values. And I think 3 or 4 values is already a lot. Maybe you can scale it down in even to 2 or 3 values. I also heard from another painter that he uses an underpainting. The canvas does not soak up all that new fresh paint. There is already an underpainting. I also find it difficult to put myself in a painter's mindset. I'm so used to draw, and normally you have to draw what you see, while with painting you must not paint what you see. Sometimes you have to make decisions for yourself and making something a totally different color than it is in real life. Otherwise it doesn't seem real, and that was very difficult for me to comprehend. It reminds me that one time I knitted my homemade fries and hot dogs, which I sell in my food truck. I took exactly the right colors for the sausage and for the fries, and once I was done, it seemed completely off. While once I took the real yellow color for the fries, then it seemed to be more real. Painting is like knitting. You cannot use always the same colors which you can see in real life, because otherwise it doesn't work. We had a little dinner party. Of course, I had to wear these earrings again. As soon as I came home, I was watching at the canvas and I started to scrape off the paint with a painting knife. I could not sleep quietly unless that paint was off. I said, if I want to be motivated for the next day to continue, then at least it had to be prepared. I was exhausted and going to bed and getting ready for the next day to paint again. There were countless times that I have even scraping off the paint again and to redo the whole area. I touched up so much that it became overworked. With the brush, I was scraping off the paint. The paint itself became like little crumbs. Normally, you should know what you're doing. I know that I'm totally not in control. I try, and it's like if I throw myself in the sea and I'm trying to swim, but there is no land, and so I try the other way, and still there is no land. And finally, I felt a little bit like that. After a lot of struggling, that I came at a point that had a little click. I thought, oh, I should do it more like this and like that. And then everything went much faster and smoother. And it's normal. I mean, you cannot expect that if you have never painted on such a big canvas, not that often with oil paints, before that you paint like that. I mean, even when I've done a lot of faces and when I'm used to watercolor and gouache, it doesn't mean that you can expect to paint like Agnes itself, who is a professional. She did it for years, and it's good to have this kind of process. You're working towards something, instead a quick rich scheme, which a lot of people expect nowadays. Sometimes people, even during music, they expect that you get some courses and then you know how to play an instrument. Of course, it doesn't work like that. I've read one time that it takes 10,000 hours. So, of course, it's just a number and it works for everybody. It's different. It depends also on what kind of baggage you have before and how skilled you are naturally. But normally, on average, it's like 10,000 hours you need to learn something in order to be good. And you cannot expect after one course that you can paint right off the bat like her. But it gives you so many good directions that it will go much, much faster. And that's why I said my only regret is that I didn't discover her earlier, but because I feel like I wasted a lot of time. And maybe it's true, and maybe it's even not true, because with trial and error, you also learn a lot. And maybe if I stumbled on her course many years ago, maybe I should also be discouraged because I couldn't paint like her. While now already I've painted a lot of times and I know now a little bit which direction I have to go. And yeah, So even bad experiences, even when you have the feeling that you're wasting your time, are sometimes good experiences. Anatomy. So the hands and the arms is quite unknown to me. And it's the reason why at the end, I was too lazy to get myself into it about all the different veins in the muscles, etc., etc. So what I did, I was painting what I saw. It's like a drawing method. I just looked at the picture and I drew finally with the paint. So yeah, in order to get the painting completed before Friday, because I was too scared that I should not finish it on time because I made so many mistakes. But I managed to finish it already on Thursday, and on Thursday it was already done, so that was good because the paint could dry a little bit. So the art teacher of the boys told me what I could correct, what I could modify, and which I did. But he told me also not to overwork it and to leave also certain mistakes, because he told me it are your mistakes. You are at this process now. It doesn't make any sense to correct it, that it's a good piece of work. Well, finally, it was me who told you to do this. And he said, and it was really a compliment for me, he said, I can already see your style. And that is something I think everybody wants, because everybody is searching for their style, their personal style. And because I do so many different things at the same time, I have the feeling that I don't have a style. But finally, people do recognize immediately when they see my paintings or my drawings. And yeah, I was really glad with that. I was never able to make a painting like this without the course from Agnes. I learned so much, and this was the best course I've ever taken. If you want to learn to paint like this, you have to subscribe, because now the course is closed. She says that she will reopen it again, so check her website. You can find all the links from her website and social media below. There's no fluff about what she's saying, and I really am impressed by her young age and that she's able to express her well so clearly. And also, English is her second language, but she speaks like almost a native American. I don't understand how she's doing it, but she's doing it. So when you think you know everything about theory, the art codes, like composition and the color mixing, etc., etc., it's so hard to think about everything at the same time, to put it in place and trying to make something out of it. Also, I can recommend to try to see your painting from different angles, different distances, through your camera, in the window. This way you can see flaws which you didn't see before. Hoe vind je het nu, lieverd?
Heel mooi nu.
Ja? Is het voorhoofd beter?
Ja.
Le front est mieux?
Oui.
Oké. Merci. Dankjewel.
Alsjeblieft. Yeah, so happy that I found her on the internet and that I could do this course. And I thank Agnes and Andy for their wonderful words, the extra goodies, and I put it in my new sketchbook. So this was my first portrait in oils in 2021. This one I've done lately, and these ones thanks to the course of Agnes. Okay. Cadeau.
Mais non. Pourquoi tu sens ça maintenant?
Il a la moitié.
Il est beau.
Oui, tu le trouves
Ouais.
beau.
Oh mon Dieu.
C'est extrêmement.
Il est limite pas sec en plus, le truc encore. Hein.
Hein? Oui, justement, c'est pour ça qu'il ne faut pas le toucher.
C'est beau.
Ouais?
Tu veux celui-là?
Oui.
T'es marrant rouge.
Merci.
Mais non, mais je crois pas. Bon, ça va, tu m'as bien mis en valeur, je trouve.
Bon, comment tu le trouves, chérie?
Ah ouais, c'est très beau, chérie.
On dit que je te fais ça.
Ouais, il n'y a pas de. Franchement, il n'y a pas vraiment de critique à faire. Hein. Mon oreille est très bien faite. Mon oreille est vraiment très belle. Là. Non, les points essentiels sont là, donc.
We just came back from the restaurant and my husband, he was so surprised that and overwhelmed that finally he mixed too much sugar with his coffee and he had to laugh about that. But he told me that he really liked it and he was very honored and flattered that it was my first portrait painting on such a big canvas from him in oils. So yeah, because I said I just wanted you to be the first I'm going to paint. I put all my heart and my soul in it and I'm really glad that he recognized that he could see that, and he told me that it was the most wonderful gift he ever had. But of course, that's not true because I already gave him many other wonderful gifts. But it's nice, it's a nice memory because of course I could wait until we got at home and then to show the painting. But it was fun to do that in the restaurant itself, that he could say, oh yeah, this is my crazy wife. She offered me a portrait painting of myself in a restaurant, and that is kind of fun, I think, to do. It's stepping out of your comfort zone and doing crazy things like that. So, yeah. So we're going to enjoy the rest of our evening, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.